Okay, in this video session, we're going to go over the PowerPoints of the class. So this is the Windows 10 class, and more or less, this is an introduction about Windows 10, kind of focusing on the new features of Windows 10, not focusing as much on Windows as in general. The class is basically in three different sections here. First, there's a lecture, a PowerPoint lecture that we're going through. Then there was a walkthrough, and also finally we had a little Q&A session at the very end. Some of the class items was a sign-in sheet, and I'm actually taking those emails and giving you guys answers to the parking lot questions, links to these videos, and also some additional materials that you may find helpful as well. Also, there's a walkthrough outline in the class that I handed out, a couple of facts, a little bit of information on it. And also, too, if you brought a device, then great. So at the very first here, though, we're talking about Windows 7. And it's kind of the originating OS operating system that most of us are familiar with here. And I think most PC users really liked it because it was just like very many of the other earlier Windows. You had your taskbar and you had your start menu, and most people were pretty comfortable with it. Windows 7 was never really designed for tablets or mobile devices, but it was a great computer version of Windows. Windows 8 here, that was actually the predecessor or the successor to Windows 7, and Windows 8 definitely had tablets in mind, maybe even a little too much. There is some innovative features here, like the App Store is definitely cool. It has a couple of other additional apps. That's pretty nice. But for the most part, people didn't like it because it was so different, especially for PC users, because you didn't have that taskbar on the start screen in quite the same way that people knew and loved. So now we actually have Windows 10 here, and Windows 10's kind of been called like a Goldilocks, if you will, kind of between OS is suited for tablets and also OS is suited for PCs or desktops. And when I say OS, I'm talking about operating system. That's basically Windows. It's what you're looking at basically on the screen. Another thing about Windows too that's nice is it has a lot of additional apps, and people generally tend to like it a lot. So Windows 10, just a little bit more information about it. It is an operating system by Microsoft, of course. It's made every other version of Windows. It's available brand new. If you go out today to like Best Buy and try to buy a desktop, more than likely it's going to have Windows 10 on it. Also, too, it's also available for upgrade as well for some versions of Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8, and it's actually a free upgrade for most of those. Also, too, Windows 10's been suited for mobile devices and also personal computers, laptops, or desktops. A lot of improvements like social media, like sharing your files. There's definitely improvements in that with Windows 10. Security is a little bit better, and also the general user experience as well. I think it's improved in Windows 10. Also comes with a lot of new applications and tools that we'll be talking about in our walkthrough. Windows 10 in general, what they're kind of doing here with, or Microsoft in general, what they're doing here with Windows 10 is they're trying to kind of counterbalance some of their competitors like Google and Apple. Google and Apple offer a lot of similar features to the features we're going to see here in Windows 10, and they definitely want to stay competitive in the market, and so they're offering a lot of these packages in this new Windows 10 as well, and I think they've done a pretty good job at staying competitive. So some of the newer features here. So the layout, I think it's improved for the most part. I know some people still have a problem with it because it's new. Hopefully, we'll get over some of those issues once we go through the walkthrough. But in general, though, the layout kind of makes it's kind of suited for a tablet, but it's also still pretty well suited for a PC. So it's kind of a nice balance. Like I was saying, it's almost like a Goldilocks operating system. Not too cold, not too hot, not too PC-like, but also it's not completely tablet-like either. Windows 10 is very app-driven, so you can actually get a lot of your old familiar software programs in app form right from its app store, which is actually very convenient, very quick, and also a little safer as well, in my opinion. Edge browser 2, it's basically the browser that is going to replace Internet Explorer, but still Internet Explorer is actually available within within Windows still. So if you just go and search for Internet Explorer in Windows 10, you'll actually find Internet Explorer still. Cortana, Microsoft's version of Siri. I think people are more familiar with Siri. That's the Apple version. It's basically an intelligent assistant that you can actually talk to. OneDrive as well. It's basically just online storage. Microsoft's offering. It's actually in the OS itself. Windows Defender. That's this new antivirus. It's not actually a firewall. I should have it's not a firewall. It's mainly just an antivirus and any spyware as well. TaskView as well is a cool feature to where you can open up multiple virtual desktops as well. So upgrading to Windows 10, when and why to upgrade? So Windows 10, like I said before, is available for Windows Vista, Windows 7, and also Windows 8. You would want to make sure your device is compatible. If you have an older device that was even old for Windows 7, it may not be a good idea going to Windows 10 since Windows 10 is much newer. I think another thing that was kind of brought up during our class, making sure your software is compatible may be a good thing as well. Some people may be very fond of a certain software package. You may just Google, how well does my software work in Windows 10, and if it doesn't work very well, and really you don't see any of these features as being that appealing to you, then maybe you want to keep your older version of Windows, at least for the time being. Also too, if you're going to upgrade, make sure you back up your files. You want to get your personal files that are usually in your C drive, your users folder, and then your login. You probably want all those folders back up to a disk, because if you do upgrade, you could run into a situation where all of your files are gone, and you just want to make sure to back those up somewhere. Also, too, it's a good idea to have your license key handy. Whenever you bought a computer or you installed Windows, you had a license key with Windows. In fact, I would say that license key, which is usually about 16 to 20 digits, somewhere around there, alphanumerical, that license key is the greatest thing it's the best proof that you own a copy of Windows, even more than your actual installation disk itself. You can always go and download Windows again, but that key is what proves that you own a copy of Windows. So you want to keep your license key handy as well. In fact, if you're upgrading from Windows 7 or 8 to Windows 10, it may even ask you about that key whenever you start installing Windows 10. And you can really use the key that you should have in 7 or 8, or maybe even Vista as well. You should have that key handy, and that key should work on upgrading to 10 if it's one of the right versions to upgrade to 10, which again, 7 and 8, almost all of them should be good for upgrade. You can actually start installing Windows 10 right from your operating system, right from Windows if you have one of these earlier versions, or you can just install Windows 10 right over everything. If you do that, I would definitely back up files, but really you should be backing up your files anyway before doing this, in case the worst were to happen. So I know one of the questions I asked whenever I saw that Windows 10 or Microsoft was offering a Windows 10 upgrade was, well, what's Microsoft? What does Microsoft have to gain from this? Because usually that's kind of unprecedented. I haven't seen too many situations where Microsoft just offered a free upgrade to a new operating system like that. And I really think that the bottom line is they want to stay competitive in a lot of these application markets. And they want to make sure that you stay loyal to their operating system, so they're kind of offering this as a software package that you should grow fond of and like, and hopefully stay loyal to them as well. Another thing as well that Microsoft can kind of gain here is it does help them sell products when they have that app store, where some apps are actually cost money. Also, you can buy music and other media from the app store, so they can gain money, of course. And also another thing too, advertising. There are certain ways where they can possibly advertise to you a little bit more. But I think all in all, though, just my thoughts, I think the upgrade's usually worth it. I think some of these capabilities in Windows 10 are pretty neat. I definitely like them, and I actually went ahead and upgraded my computer from Windows 7 myself. Yeah, so I think it's pretty worth it. But again, it may not be worth it in your situation. If you see all these features today and you really aren't, you don't see yourself using these, and you're perfectly happy with the Windows 7, or maybe an application that you have on Windows 7 that may not work on 10 that you're on now, then by all means just stay there. But one of these days, when you do get a new device, you'll probably have to deal with Windows 10 or maybe its successor here sooner or later. But it's the general on upgrading. So Windows 10 versions. There's 3 general versions. There's Mobile, Home, and Pro. And these are some of the upgrade paths here for Windows 7 and Windows 8. So we're going to be using Windows 10 today. That's probably the most vanilla version, if you will. Of course, mobiles for tablets or basically tablet devices or mobile devices, and then really desktops and laptops will more than likely be using either Home or Pro. So Windows 10 walkthrough. Please reference your walkthrough for the rest of the course here, and enjoy.